Hello friends, Tom Downey here for Chat Sports with some NBA draft grades. Of course, it's already over. Teams are now signing their Summer League free agency players. But let's take a look at what the Cleveland Cavaliers did as they continue to rebuild after the LeBron James era. They entered this year's draft with picks number 5, number 26, and needs literally everywhere. They can just go best player available, and it tends to make a little bit of sense. Now, the Cleveland Cavaliers did attempt to trade down from number 5 overall, which makes sense, right? They need more assets. That was their most valuable one. They tried to acquire extra picks and or players, ended up not working out. So instead, they stood at number 5 and took Darius Garland, the point guard out of Vanderbilt, which is interesting, not because he's not talented, but because they just took a point guard last year in Collin Sexton. And Garland played in only 5 games at Vanderbilt because of an injury. But there are some similarities here. He's a score-first point guard with great upside who isn't the best distributor. In part, his assist numbers were less because, much like Collin Sexton, the players around Garland weren't that good. So at that point, how exactly do those two fit together? 2.6 assists per game. Again, he shot 48%, but again, it's a super small sample size in just 5 games played for Garland because he's coming off that injury. Now, he is a little bit smaller, but I think you can find a way to make that work, of course, in today's NBA. In terms of player comps upside, downside, let's start on the bad side. Maybe he only ends up being Jeff Teague, who's not the best distributor, but he's a borderline starting caliber player. Probably is a top 30 point guard in the NBA, Jeff Teague is. And if you want to go full-on crazy hype upside, it's probably a guy like Dame Lillard. Now, I don't know if Garland reaches that ceiling. All of a sudden, that kind of makes some sense because Collin Sexton also can kind of play some off-ball guard, and hopefully for the Cleveland Cavaliers there. So grade this pick. A, B, C, D, or F. Jimmy, our NBA draft expert, was in love with it because of the Collin Sexton selection there. He's giving me a thumbs down. I didn't mind it, though. Like, if you're Cleveland, yeah, fits are important, but you just got to get talent. I might have preferred Jarrett Culver, but I think Garland was at least a B pick there for the Cleveland Cavaliers. A theme continued here at pick number 26 overall for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's get guys that can score. That is Dylan Windler to a T. This was one of my favorite prospects this year. Call me crazy. I like players that put up double figures and shoot buckets. That's Dylan Windler to a nutshell there. And also offers just enough defensive ability. You can count him as, everyone drink, a 3-and-D player. He shot incredible from deep this year. Yeah, at Belmont. But 21 points per game and almost 43% from deep, that's insane. And oh, by the way, he dropped 35 against Maryland. That's a big factor there. Now, yes, there's going to be a very steep competition increase for Dylan Windler, but I think he's just enough of an athlete, just good enough, and that's why he went to 26, not like 6. Just good enough of an athlete, just good enough of a defender to be a 3-and-D sharpshooter in the NBA. So player comp-wise, upside, maybe you get Joe Ingles or one of the Bogdanoviches as your player. Or downside, maybe he only ends up being Doug McDermott, which is a possibility there. But at 26 overall, I am a huge fan of this pick for the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 26 overall from Belmont. The Cavs, though, were not done. They got back into the NBA draft by making a trade. They got number 30 overall in exchange for the Detroit Pistons getting our boy cash considerations, and not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 future second-round selections. Cleveland really wanted Kevin Porter Jr. out of USC. And I think it makes sense. You might as well take a gamble. You're pick number 30. You're not always going to find a starter. Kevin Porter, though, just pure athletic upside-wise, was probably a top 15 talent this year. Great athlete, big-time scoring upside there, but this is the ultimate high-risk, high-reward gamble. Quite frankly, Kevin Porter Jr. could be out of the NBA in like 3 years. There are some pretty significant maturity concerns around Porter. He was suspended mid-year at USC for what we don't really know what was called an off-court reason. Oh, by the way, inefficient too. Did not take great shots. That's why he only put up 9.5 points per game. But the athletic talent is there for Kevin Porter. Great athlete. He's simply immature. Did shoot well from deep, though. So I got 2 player comps for you. They're both, I think, pretty funny. Number 1, Swaggy P. I think that makes sense for Kevin Porter Jr. And then on the super bad side, Latrell Sprewell. If the immaturity and the attitude continues to be a big problem for Kevin Porter, I'm very curious how John Beilein will bring in all three of these new guards and will handle how, frankly, Porter and Sexton and Garland all need the ball in their hands to operate. I'm very curious to see how that all fits together. Interesting fit, though, for Cleveland. So, folks, what was your favorite pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers? Let me know in the comments section. Garland is the best player. Porter might even have the highest upside potentially, though it's probably still Garland. I'm going to go with Dylan Windler. I absolutely love him as a bench shooter, small ball three. He will just chuck in the corner. I like his upside there as a shooter if the Cavs can develop a little bit better dribble and drive offense. Now, the offense and really the roster is still kind of a question mark in terms of how they all fit together. Collin Sexton, Darius Garland, they're both point guards. So does one start? Does one sit? Do they try and play them together? I think that's what they try to do, but I'm very curious how that all fits together. Kevin Love will, in theory, be back next year, and I guess we'll see how that all goes together. Tristan Thompson, he's overpaid as well. I don't mind Cedi Osman, but maybe Kevin Porter or Dylan Windler surpass him in the near future. Jordan Clarkson's there. And frankly, the Cavs have no money. Not featured is J.R. Smith. As of right now, costing over $15 million. They could trade him for a team that wants to cut him and save about $13 million in cap space there. Brandon Knight, not pictured or not mentioned, $15.6 million cap hit. Larry Nance, $12.7. Clarkson, $13.4. John Henson, $10.4. Matthew Dellavedova, $9.6. Long story short there, the Cavs got a lot of players on their roster that are making a lot of money that just aren't very good, and that's why they're not going to be players in free agency. But in terms of the draft only, I'm a little bit higher than Jimmy was. He gave him a B+. I gave him an A-. I am a little bit higher on the Darius Garland pick, and I really like the Dylan Windler pick, as I've mentioned before, and the upside of Kevin Porter Jr. is totally worth it. Now we'll see where those 4 second-round picks end up being. Maybe there's some protections on there. We don't know the exact years yet. But overall, it's a good draft for the Cavs. They have to just add assets. They don't have many positive ones. They've got maybe Kevin Love with a brutal cap hit going forward. They have Collin Sexton. They have, as of right now, Darius Garland. They have Dylan Windler now, so they needed assets there. They acquired those. I'm not sure how they all fit together. That's why it's an A-, not quite a full A or an A+. But it's a good draft for Cleveland. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. The Cavs also added some undrafted free agents. They have given Dean Wade a 2-way deal. Producer Brett pumped about it. Jimmy's pumped about it there. Dean Wade could become a stretch 4 if, of course, he doesn't deal with injury problems like he did at Kansas State. A name you might have heard of, Marques Bolden out of Duke, who was a hyped recruit, 5-star, like a top 5 player, and literally could not get on the court at Duke. That's not a good sign. He went undrafted, no surprise there. He was a summer league invite only. We'll see if he even makes the roster. But Bolden, I guess the upside is there. But if he was a 3-star recruit, no one would have any interest in him. So we'll see about Bolden. And then finally, Phil Booth, another guard option out of Villanova. Summer league guy only. I'd be fairly surprised in the end if he makes the roster. There are already too many guards on this Cavs roster. They have, of course, Garland and Sexton. They bring in Dylan Windler, Kevin Porter Jr. They have Dellavedova still, too. Brandon Knight, Jordan Clarkson. So I don't think Booth makes this roster, but I do want to mention those are the 3 notable UDFAs so far by the Cavs. So Cleveland's big needs. Guard, they found some. Wing, they found some. Big man, not really. No centers there unless you want to count good old Marques Bolden, which does not count. Now the Cavs are stuck because they have no money in free agency. They've spent it all on guys like Love and Thompson and J.R. Smith and adding bad contracts in exchange for picks like Knight and John Henson and Dellavedova. So for Cleveland, it's not about making any moves in free agency. It's about building those young guys. They could still try to trade J.R. Smith to a team, take back another bad contract, save money for that team, and get a pick back as well. That's probably the most likely move for Cleveland, but frankly, no one wants to come to the Cavs right now in free agency.